Good evening, everybody. Welcome. It is 8 o'clock on a Tuesday night on the East Coast. That means it is time for Proper Royals Live. I have been on YouTube for 1 year, and I want to tell you about it. And I got to admit, as I was writing the show tonight, there's a lot of overlap between kind of what I've learned over the past year in ball pythons in general, but I'm going to try and keep it a little bit focused on YouTube and kind of the business side of things. But as always, we'll talk about all things ball python, live chat, Q&A. You guys hang out tonight. I'll hang out, and I promise we'll have a great show. So stick around. Let's hit the music and start this thing just right. What's going on, everybody? I hope that you're doing well. I have to admit, I got, not admit, it's not like it's a crime. I got a breakthrough case of COVID on Saturday. I was diagnosed or came back with a positive test. So I'm fighting off some of the symptoms. I'm actually feeling better today or this evening. Just really, this morning was kind of rough, but I'm feeling better than I've been feeling. And I'm about a week in. I get out of quarantine on Friday, and I've had three Pfizer shots. So stay vigilant out there, protect yourselves. I don't really want to get into COVID tonight, but if you see me a little loopy or I got to sign off because I get hit with a little bit of fatigue or whatever, bear with me, but I'm going to be just fine. I'm doing well. And I know that a lot of y'all out there are dealing with the same stuff or it's affected you. So my sympathies if you're going through it. Otherwise, let's see what we can get through. And nobody came here to talk about COVID tonight. So I've been on YouTube for 1 year, and it seems like a good, hurdle to talk about or a milestone to talk about. So I thought I would share it with you. And as I said in the intro, as I was writing the show tonight, I kind of found out that I felt like I'd learned as much about ball pythons outside of YouTube as I had in YouTube. So I'm going to kind of try and focus on it, but I don't really want this to be, an hour-long ball python show about YouTube metrics. That's kind of boring. I'm going to show you those. I'll show you my metrics. So I'll take you behind the curtain. We'll look at the actual information. But I want it to be as much about where I go from here, what I think I've learned, and how it can affect other people in the hobby and how I apply it to my ball python hobby. So I promise we're going to keep it on ball pythons more than just nerdy YouTube numbers. And as always, I want you guys on the comments. You all keep me going. I'm a solo show tonight, so I got to carry the whole show. And I tell you, that's a burden, not a burden. I'm lucky to have the burden. It's intimidating to me. It causes anxiety to me because that is a lot of space to fill without any support. So, yeah, thank you all for being here. Warfels, thanks for being here. I got your comment earlier. I really appreciate you watching the videos. And, I don't want to go too far into COVID, but yeah, you're exactly right. Those aches, man. I haven't had any chest lung problems, but man, my kidneys and my lower back and actually even my thighs, oh my gosh, I just feel like I have been smacked around. So yeah, I'm with you. I'm almost through it. I'm getting better. Yeah. So there, enough of COVID. 1 year on YouTube. So I'll give you some quick stats rundown, and I'll give you some context for what it means. For those of y'all that don't have a YouTube channel or aren't pursuing YouTube in sort of a serious way, I would encourage you to, if you've ever had an inkling to want to do it. It's been a really fulfilling experience. And I got to tell you, I think it overlaps into other areas of life. So in my career, I run restaurants. I think YouTube is now one of the most effective advertising platforms that you could apply yourself to advertising your business or reaching your customers. And you can do it in a non-traditional way. So in a lot of ways, this show right here is a non-traditional advertisement. It's me building trust with potential clientele that will hopefully purchase a ball python one day. But also, you know, the other thing that YouTube kind of cooks up is other forms of potential revenue streams, none of which are immediately huge, but that could snowball in time is the thought. So for example, ad revenue, that's getting monetized on YouTube. And let me finish this one thought and then we'll come back to monetization on YouTube. But the other thing is the influence that you can start to garner. So I have 800 subscribers, which in the YouTube world is not much, but don't let me undersell that. If any advertiser could stand in front of 800 focused clients that you have some sort of tie with, some sort of attraction, some sort of guarantee that they've engaged you, been interested, and then come back, and you could get your information in front of them on a regular basis of engagement. I'm getting like chills. People would kill for that. That's the kind of engagement. Think about old traditional advertising, billboards on a highway. Who paid attention to those? What was the engagement? People don't stop for 3-5 minutes at a billboard and engage in it. No. Walking through the airport, you don't stop for 3 or 5 minutes at a little kiosk blasting stuff at you. But on YouTube, people do that. So it's kind of cool. And I really don't ever want to, say I only have X number of subscribers, because that's like the comparison trap, right? Oh, Barczak has 3.3 million. I only have 800. How about I had 0 when I started and I knew nothing of what I was doing? And in 1 year's time, we have this community of 800 people. And honestly, all 9 people who've made a comment so far tonight, I recognize you. You're return people. So now not only do we have this group, we have a community where we gather on a regular basis, and we have the camaraderie and the shared experiences and the shared likenesses. So I think that's amazing. Morphs says, I was afraid to start my channel, but now I love putting content out there. Great as a teaching, helping platform. Plus, like you said, advertising. Yeah. And that's a great point. I don't actively do this as a straight advertisement. Like tonight, I'm probably not going to show you a snake at all. It's not, hey, here, buy this. It is, hopefully I could share something that people gain knowledge from and enjoy and gain some entertainment about. I don't want you to waste your time tonight. It's an hour and a half that you could be doing anything with. So, I value that. Yeah, it really is about building a community. And I know I use the restaurant example a ton, but it's almost like a good bartender. Like if you didn't go to a bar or a restaurant for the camaraderie, for the service, for the, maybe not the gossip, but the communication back and forth, it doesn't really make rational sense. Otherwise, you can buy a 6-pack of beer for $10, but if you buy 2 beers at a bar, you're going to pay $10. So what are you paying for? You're paying for that experience. You're paying for that connection with people with shared likenesses and shared concerns. And that to me is what makes a pub beautiful. So that's why I love playing music in pubs. That's why I focus my music on, I play Irish drinking music with either a duo or a band. And that's another thing that I do outside of YouTube, but I love the philosophy of a pub. And it's like we have this online pub here, I say it almost every time I see him, but Patrick was one of my very first subscribers on my channel. He still takes the time to comment like crazy, always says hello. So what's going on, Patrick? I love this setting because of things like that, because of the virtual pub nature of what we're doing here. So that to me is the cool thing. And in my videos, I don't get the interaction that I get with you all with your comments like you're making it right here. So this live stream is like a different facet and a different angle into YouTube. And I'm talking about the different strategies that I've taken and actually what I've learned from it. I actually had kind of an aha moment today where I was like, you know what? Part of that ain't working and you need to refocus on a different part of it. And that's important. You got to learn, you got to grow, you got to pivot and evolve. Because if you don't, you just, unless you hit it out of the park to begin with, which obviously after a year and I'm not monetized and I haven't hit that 1,000 subscriber milestone, there's room for growth and room for improvement. So Jordan says, I wanted to start a channel for a while now, just keep making excuses to put it off. Jordan, in very short order, I'm going to show you like one of the very first channel, or the very, very first videos that I ever recorded. And you will suddenly feel better about your odds about starting a channel and just letting it rip, man. I know it's really cliche to say because almost all the, how to start a YouTube channel videos say it, but man, just go do it. And if it makes you feel any better, don't tell anybody you've done it, man. Like, it's great. You can live in secrecy and you have your own little world in the YouTube world. So I say, get out there, give it a shot. You'll have a very supportive surroundings of people around here. Yeah, Tradesman Exotic says you got to play some Dropkick Murphys. Yeah, we do. We do a Shipping Up to Boston and Rose Tattoo version, and then some of their traditionals as well, Black Velvet Band and Green Fields of France kind of stuff. So, yeah, Tradesman, you're here in Jacksonville, man. Hey, I play in a band with a guy named Spade McQuaid. You can Google him. We play in Jacksonville constantly, and we got a bunch of shows coming up. So love to see you come out and hang out a little bit, man. You're a local guy, so I would love that, man. So I said I would circle back to monetization. So monetization on YouTube means that you get to get paid for your ads, and that your video space has more value and has been shown to be lasting and has stood the test of time, et cetera, et cetera. And so therefore advertisers will pay more money to place their ads in your video, and then you get a share of that ad revenue stream. So that's monetization. And monetization has two factors to it, and really actually a third. But the two factors are, you have to have 1,000 subscribers, and you have to have 4,000 watch hours on your channel in a 1-year calendar. So the 1 year is that third component. So right now, if today is my 1 year anniversary, which I don't think that it is, it's right around here, but it's not exactly here. But that means if today were my 1 year anniversary video, or the point is, tomorrow a video I made, the hours from the very first day wouldn't count because it's no longer in that rolling calendar year. Now I'm going to show you that really doesn't make a big difference because my starting watch hours were nothing compared to what I'm doing now. You talk about a snowball effect. You'll see it here when we look at some stats in just a second. So the monetization is kind of a big hurdle, and I don't think it'll be a game changer in that I don't think for a second I'm going to get rich off of it or anything like that. But it could pay for, my feeding rodents for a month or something like that. I don't know. Whatever comes of it is better than what I'm getting right now, which is nothing. So that's cool. But it's a good milestone where I feel like I'm not going to feel as much pressure to, I'll say that I feel a pressure to produce. I feel a pressure to keep up a pace. When you're going for that goal, you're on a timer because you have that 1 year time limit. It doesn't mean that everything ends. You don't turn into a pumpkin at the end of the year, but all the work you did at the very, very beginning doesn't count, or those hours don't count. Your subscribers still do. The people that you got following you still do. But you feel this pressure that there's like this countdown on. And so it becomes a little bit of a challenge. So I feel this pressure to produce. And sometimes I just put stuff out there that maybe either I'm not happy with, or I feel like I could have edited more, or I could have taken more time, but I have this sort of imaginary deadline that, within a week, I want to produce X, Y, and Z repeatedly and consistently. And so I do that. And sometimes I think quality suffers, but I will say too, there's times where I think that I wouldn't say I ever think I'm putting a dud out there, but let's put it this way. If I put the effort into filming a video, editing it, and putting it together, I don't throw it in the trash can. I put it out there. I post it. And sometimes those are the ones that are just, they're great. And I don't know why. And it's an interesting journey that way. So let me take you into, I was going to say, let me take you into my stats. Let me take you back to one of my very, very first videos. And when I first started, I filmed, I think 5 or 6 or 8 videos because I didn't want to just post one and then like get cold feet or not have anything to do. So like, I just dumped 8 videos at once or 5 videos at once or something. And, I have no idea if that was a good idea or a bad idea. At the very beginning, it feels like you have so much riding on it. Like everything is going to be determined by how you start out of the gate. It's not. It's totally long gone, long forgotten. It's still up there. And like I say, I'll share it with you, but you'll be able to see just the total difference in my videos now, my presence, my editing. I didn't know squat about editing. Oh my gosh. The day I figured out iMovie was this just quantum leap forward. I didn't even know how to, those of you that edit videos, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's so basic. I didn't even know how to do a cut where you would you could cut and yank something out. So if you say a lot, like if you watch my videos now, there's almost no ums in them. I just cut them out, chop them out. But I didn't know how to do that to start with. And that's like the most basic command you can have in video editing. But let me take you over to one of my very, very first videos. And this is in my old house in North Carolina. And let me just hit play for a minute. Here we go. Skittish by nature. They live inside hollowed out tree trunks, termite logs, that sort of thing in the wild. Granted, do you see the bacon cooking on the TV behind me? I think I have it on pause back there. I'm in my kitchen.
That's why they're pets. That's why we breed them and make exotic varieties. I get that.
So,
however, they do have natural instincts, and they are natural.
You know, I've grown from there. Let me figure out how to pause that.
So you got to block out these sides.
So that was a setup about, tanks versus tubs. And I use tubs exclusively now, but I was still using some tanks back then for kind of my pet displays. When I moved to Florida, I moved exclusively to tubs. I've had a far better experience with tubs than tanks. So that was one of my first ones. And then I found this one other video that I thought I would share. So an interesting stat. I used to create an intro for every video. Every video I made, I would make a new intro for. And one of the things that you learn, whether it's a year on YouTube or a year in any business or anything else, any endeavor, is you get better at things and you start saving yourself time at things. And one of the things that I just had to start saving time was I made an intro that I could just drop and cut and paste into my videos. And I've done 2 or 3 of those, but this is one of the ones that I actually used to do. I would make it for every video. And this is actually me playing the guitar and my son yelling, "Proper Royals." That is not it. I'm sorry. Hang on. I got to share a different screen. That was my intro. That was one of my intros that I've saved. I'm sorry. My button controls are not very good here. Here we go. Choose a Chrome tab. And this was one of the first videos about DIY racks that I made. And this was the intro that I made on the old editing software. This was a shareware free editing software that was just terrible.
It's Adam at Proper Royals. Thanks
Not bad, right?
It
was like,
I get asked a lot on my Facebook page about.
Not bad, right? It was like a start. I was learning. It was you do it, you jump in, you figure it out, and I didn't get punished for putting it out there. I didn't get laughed at. I didn't anything. It was a really, really supportive place. I might not have gotten a huge amount of views, but you know, everything was good with it. Yeah, Phil says vintage. That's right. So since then, I got to tell you, I bought a Canon M50 Mark II camera that I really like. And this streaming service only streams in 720, so it doesn't get the full effect. But if you watch some of my more current videos, I really like the camera. But up until 2 months ago, I did everything on my cell phone, and it's a Droid, Android, Samsung, something or other. But it's not like the super, super gamer version Samsung phone. I've been told I'm fairly cheap in life, so I don't spend much money on my phone. I'll tell you that right now. But you can do it on your phone. And actually, I'll have to look at what phone that is. I actually have the box for it around here somewhere, oddly enough. I've had that phone forever. But Samsung A50, I50, something 50. I've been really happy with it, and the camera is actually quite good, and the microphone was fine. I never had to buy an external or a lapel mic or anything like that either. So I was pretty happy with it. That first video was not with the Samsung. That was with an even prior phone to that. But most of my videos were made on that Samsung phone that actually I really was pretty happy with and did pretty well. Warfel says, I use the same intro, but I change the pictures in it from time to time to keep it fresh. Yeah, I use the same music. And when I started doing this show, I actually turned my intro into an advertisement for the live stream on Tuesday nights. So it's kind of pictures of me with a snake with writing over it saying, Tuesday nights live stream, Proper Royals, and then get to the video kind of thing. So, so that's what I would say about the intro. Incoline says, John says, I'm going to make one this week. We were talking offline before we started. He and I both have downtime for a similar reason. And he says, what are you going to do what do you do for your business in your downtime? And that's actually a great idea, John, to follow that. John also says, that you playing guitar for your current intro? It is not. That is a purchased. Actually, I didn't purchase it. It's free. It's one of the YouTube sound clips that you just get with the YouTube library. So that one is not me. Maybe I'll do one maybe the next one I'll have to get back to doing it. But I like that music a lot. It's actually the background music that I use at a really low level to kind of fill in space on my videos as well in case there's downtime. I obviously don't use it on the live stream, but I do use it on my videos. So I thought, sorry, I'm going to have to interrupt for one moment. A breaker just flipped in my house, and my wife's going to come out to the studio and want me to flip it back on. Give me 1 second. Let me flip on that breaker for her. All right. Sorry for that interruption. So then what I'll do is I will take you to my channel stats. And again, I think for people not really into YouTube or not doing YouTube, it's probably not that exciting, but I'll try and keep it interesting, and then we'll move on from there, because I'm actually more excited about where to go with this groundswell community that has been built in the past year of 800 plus people now, to where can that go for the future, and how do all of those different things tie back to ball pythons, but B, take me beyond that and various potential revenue streams and reaching various potential customers, and what's the overlap, and how do what creative ways, what synergies are there, what different things can be combined, what worlds aren't explored, So let's look at the stats, and then we'll talk about all that other stuff that I'm actually really, really excited about with the future. So sorry, I'm not fast on these buttons. Let me get the share here. So on the StreamYard stream, I use the free version, and I think it doesn't let me, I think it only lets me queue one screen at a time. And I think the paid versions would go up from there. So maybe that's what needs to come next. So here comes my stats page. And let's see. All right, I'm going to be on the stats page, so I can't actually see the stream. I won't see your comments for a little bit while I'm working through these. So this is the page management. If you don't have a YouTube page, you get, when you do, you get this dashboard page. And so I just produced this short today, this Hatchling Beauty short. And right now it's not performing that great. It's performing number 8 out of my last 10 videos. So it's low, but it's gotten 14 views. But this is pretty cool. 84% view rate or engagement rate. That's extremely high on YouTube. So this one will actually get pushed into the shorts feed pretty soon. I'm willing to bet. But that's just today. We're talking about the whole year. So check out the analytics here, and you could drop this menu down to from the last 28 days. We're going to switch it over to the last 365 days. And this gives you a snapshot of kind of the history of my channel right here. So for the last 365 days, there's been 65,000 views. How cool is that? That's incredible. A watch time of 3.4 hours. We'll circle back to that watch time thing in a minute because I'll show you the pace I'm on for monetization. And 803 subscribers, it shows here. It shows 804 here. So this one's updated daily, and this is updated in real time. So in real time, you could see that I had 761 views in the last 48 hours. That's a huge number for me, but you could see it all came right in this blurb. Not all, a bunch of it came in this blip on the radar right here. One of my shorts kind of blew up last night for some reason. And they do that from time to time. And then since then, it's just kind of been ho-hum until right about now when the show started. And my channel's gotten 23 views since the show started in this particular hour. But back to the year in review. From a views standpoint, you see what I mean? Those first views, those first days, look, you're getting 10, 11, 5 views a day. They don't, relatively to where you're going to go, they don't matter. And you could see very, very visually here, you know, June 7th was kind of the end of me playing around for something. I actually don't know what in the world changed that day. I think I produced my first short that day, and that's where that thing exploded. I think it's 1,700 views in one day. That's madness. But you could see since then, things have kind of taken off. There's a lot more peaks, but there's also a lot more area under the curve here of engagement. And those are views, and the watch time hours have been kind of the same. I had a pretty good run right in here from like March to, you know, April, May of this year. But really, again, you know, about a month behind me publishing that short was when the hours took off. And if you remember, monetization on YouTube is subscribers and it's watch hours. It has nothing to do with views. You can have low view count, but a really, really high engagement and a really high click-through level of subscriber rate and get monetized very, very quickly. So the views really are kind of, what's that dopamine for your brain that makes you go, yeah, I'm killing it. But the views don't matter. If somebody watches it for 3 seconds, you know, John made a comment, Inquan made a comment not too long ago that, you know, it's hard to watch somebody it's hard to watch somebody past 3 minutes on a lot of channels. And I take that as a compliment that you'll watch me for those 3 minutes, but there's plenty of people who think that I can't be put up with for 3 minutes. So I guarantee you that as well. So what's up, Stephen and Courtney? I hope you all are well. It's good to see you tonight. Thanks for being here. We're doing a recap of the past year, and I'm just sharing some stats of what's going on behind there. And as Phil says, a look at the nuts and the bolts. So back to that. And then interesting though, you see the views kind of skyrocket right in here. Watch time hours, pretty steady growth. But subscribers, oddly enough, there's a few more peaks at the end and a few, there's a pretty good stretch right in here. But by and large, my subscriber rate has been fairly steady. I mean, I average, just numerically, I average a little bit over 2 subscribers a day. On my best day ever, I think this is like 21, 17 that day, 12, 13, but it's a slow build. This whole, what's the word I'm looking for? Sorry, my head's a little slow, I guess, tonight. This whole statement you hear of blowing up and things going viral and taking off, in my experience, it doesn't really happen. It's a slow, steady build with good results if you keep at it. And that's kind of life, right? That is, I mean, YouTube and the internet and social media was supposed to be the promise of this instant get rich quick, kind of result. But the fact is, it's a steady, slow, steady build, just like anything else in life on there. And this subscriber rate is kind of a perfect example of that. So you put all that into a blender, you can click on monetization over here. And you'll see that I'm actually on pretty good pace, pretty even pace, almost mathematically identical. Basically, I'm at 80% on both watch hours and subscribers. But I'll tell you, until I started the show, I was lagging greatly in watch hours. This show has been great for watch hours. So you all returning viewers, consistent viewers, are really making the difference for me, that's no BS. That's absolutely true. So, on the rate I'm going, I'm projecting somewhere towards the middle to the end of January. I should get monetized. That's these 2 little dashboards right here. I realize they're probably pretty small on your screen. Back on the analytics, let me show you one other interesting thing that I think will pay off in time. I could take you through all the click rate. You could check out engagement. Oh, this is pretty neat. So in my last 28 days, my average engagement duration is 4 minutes per video, and lifetime, it's 305. Now you have to remember that includes shorts, and kind of my sweet spot for making shorts is about 20 seconds. So to have a 3-minute average view duration is a really high level of engagement that I'm proud of. The other thing that's neat, if you are going to start a YouTube channel or you have one, and I don't claim to be an expert, but I do believe strongly in this, is look at the traffic sources here. So browse features is the pretty traditional, you sign on to YouTube, you see thumbnails, you see a title that interests you and you click it. That's a browse feature. The shorts feed are those huge spikes that you see, with a video going viral for 800, 1,000, 2,000 views really quickly. So this chart is based on number of views. It's not on percentage watched. It's not on hours. It's number of views. So that I still have more views by browsing than shorts, I'm pretty proud of. But this YouTube search is really, really a neat metric. 20% of my 65,000 views are from people searching and a video of mine popping up and catching their attention, and that being what they choose to use to educate themselves on whatever they're searching for. And what I'm tying this all into is that an interesting stat about YouTube is, behind Google, it's the second most used search engine on the internet. Think about that for a minute. YouTube is the second most used search engine on the internet. Hey, perfect example. John says that's how I found you. So if you can make videos that are highly searchable and don't go stale and aren't about what Kim Kardashian did yesterday or what, Brian or Kevin said on their ball python channel yesterday, then you're going to stay relevant on YouTube much longer, and you're going to gonna fuel that snowball effect. So right now, one thing I didn't show you is that I'm just over, and I'm not going to flip back and forth the stat screens and all that, but I'm just over 200 videos that I've produced. So right now I have a library of 200 searchable videos. But in another year, if I keep up the same pace, I'll have a library of 400 searchable videos working views for me that keep bringing people back and that don't pop in and out on their browsers or that go, on their browse homepage. So trying to make highly searchable videos. And then I use a tool called TubeBuddy, TubeBuddy. And it's a search engine optimization tool that actually lets you identify tags and searchable titles and topics to go for. And it's okay. If you have under 1,000 subscribers, it's very inexpensive. I think it's $2 or $3 a month. You get a 50% discount off their advertised basic plan. And at that price, I actually kind of like it. I don't know if I'll keep it when it comes time to renew or not. That's a good question. I'm not sure. I probably will. I write it off as a business expense as well. So it's probably worthwhile. But I'm really happy to see those results that 20% of my views come from YouTube search. Those of y'all that have channels, I'd be curious to know where your stats are. Where does that stack up, and what's your opinion on that? Is that a fool's errand that I'm on to try and compete and worry about searchability, or should I just make content that I'm passionate about? I think that there's a system and a process to it. So that's what I've been following. Mark, good to see you tonight. Mark says he got here late, but his topic's right up his alley. Well, I appreciate you being here, man. You have always been a great supporter of the show and a supporter of buying some ball pythons. So I especially appreciate you. I hope you're well, brother. I hope that turtle of yours is well too. So as far as strategy and my current strategy, I do one live a week. I do what I call a traditional video a week. So that those traditional, 5, 8, 10 to 20 minute videos on a topic that might be searchable, like we were saying, or should be ideally evergreen content. And we call it evergreen content, doesn't ever go bad kind of thing. And I try and do one to two of those a week. So one live stream, 1 to 2 traditional videos, and then 1 to 2 shorts. And I want to talk about that. And this is kind of where that aha moment hit me today, that I think I'm going to pivot my strategy just a little bit. So shorts are interesting to me in that, let's talk about a couple facts. Google owns YouTube, right? TikTok is the shorts model. The TikTok video changed the world of social media. So much so that its two biggest competitors, Instagram and now YouTube, added that style. They ripped off TikTok in the form of reels and shorts to get into that market. So it told me it was something that I needed to try and understand and I needed to try and learn about. And if you don't know, a short has to be under a minute, and it has to be vertical. So like the screen here is portrait, but shorts have to be vertical. And that tells me, of course, they're designed for the quick consumption on the phone. Under a minute, vertical. That is right here, phone. So I didn't know anything about shorts, and much like I didn't know anything about YouTube, I said I'm going to start making shorts. And I found shorts were an interesting freedom because it's the Wild West. You can do whatever you want on it. You don't have time to engage people the way that I'm engaging, hopefully you now, and that you're engaging me now. So I had no idea, and I just kind of threw stuff out there, and I started a TikTok account at the same time, because if I want to learn, I go do it. That's how I jump into the game. And what I found and what I've concluded today is that I know very, very little about it, and I know very little about what good it does me. What I will tell you for good it does me is it reaches a lot of people. When you get into that shorts reel, it fires you off fast. You can I wouldn't say blow up, but relatively blow up. Like, so that short that I posted tonight, it had 6 or 8 views, but like I say, it had an engagement level of 84%, and that was a 30-second short. So that means people are watching it for 25 seconds. That's an eternity in the world of shorts. And so that will go. It'll get pushed. It'll get pushed out there to a lot of people. YouTube loves an 84% engagement level. I will get at least 500 views on that short in the next 48 hours, and I might get 1,000. Who knows? It could be really good. And I will get subscribers from that. The problem is the people that subscribed to the shorts, when a traditional video about me making a spreadsheet to track my ball python feeding, they're not interested in that. And I lose subscribers. And here's the other thing. Those of you all watching this that like this engagement, that like this deep dive, that like this picking apart a topic for an hour, have no interest in these ridiculous shorts that I'm doing. And when I say they're ridiculous, they are nuts. I use for shorts, I use a phone editing software called Filmora, Filmora. Filmora Go is the app. It's really easy to use, but little secret, they have shorts templates. You take 9 pictures and you do a quick little, 6-second vertical video. You pop it in there and it's like techno music, stars exploding, rockets going off, and boom, you got a little short that's nicely packaged, and it's almost destined to go viral because it's 14 seconds long, and before people can get annoyed with it, it's over. So you get like 100% engagement rate on it. So I thought it was a hack to get more subscribers. And what I find now is that when I do them, I'll get a bump. But like today, I lost 2 subscribers when I posted my short tonight, because I think my traditional viewers have no interest in that. And frankly, that's a pain in the butt when you're scrolling through your feed and you're looking for quality content to enjoy your YouTube watching experience. And you got to deal with Adam's little rocket ships going off over pew, pew, pew over his little snakes. So I had this aha moment that it doesn't do any good to attract 2 different viewerships to the same channel, because essentially if you throw them in the same pot, they're both going to think everything's mediocre because neither one of them is getting a full dose of what they're coming for. So my new short tonight, I didn't use the template for. I didn't use the pew, pew, pew rocket ships. I didn't use the techno music. I made a short with, in my spare COVID time right now. I had this great camera that I bought that I never dove into. So I set up some different lighting. I set up the camera vertical. I figured out how to film vertically with my Canon camera. I point at it like you all can see it, but it's this camera. And my goal was to make a short that those of you engaged in this will be interested in watching in a short form, and at the very least won't cause you to unsubscribe and run the hell away from me because you're annoyed, and rightly so, because I wouldn't watch that shorts crap either, but people do. And so, you feed the audience. It's like Mick Ultra. I don't care to drink it, but I'll damn sure sell it all I can at my bar because it's profitable and people want it. So anyhow, that was kind of my aha moment. What good does it do to attract? I need to attract an audience that will stay engaged across the platforms and across the content that I'm producing. And that's never going to be perfect, but I think I have to go away from just the super obnoxious shorts, and I have to refigure out shorts. I still think they're valuable. I still think they'll reach a huge audience. I still think that actually Steven and Courtney do a great job with their shorts on Instagram. If you don't follow Leviathan Snakes on Instagram, you should. And I think they have something like 5, 6, 8,000 followers. So there's definitely an audience for it. And I think they do. Steven, what do you guys do? 1, 2, 3 shorts a week kind of thing. So it's out there. I just got to I got to reattack it. I got to figure this out. Mark wrote, this is a really great compliment. I appreciate you, Mark. My YouTube has started taking off after you had me on your show, Adam. So much thanks for that. The motivation also has got me taking YouTube more seriously too. Thank you. Thank you. It's humbling. We joke. We're just a couple dudes in the garage. I've got a snake room in my garage, and Mark has I don't know how many gallon, 300, 500, 600 gallon tank for his turtle, which is awesome. You got to check out his channel, 403 Fauna, when you get a chance. Mark's out in San Diego, really killer dude. I like YouTube in that it keeps me learning, and I think that I can apply this to life outside of ball pythons. I think I can apply it to my career. I think I can apply what I'm learning to the future. I don't know where the future is going, but I could tell you that Google, YouTube are going to be part of it in some way, form, shape, or another. And the more that I can understand the mindset of that, I'm not getting any younger. So I may as well try and start understanding this stuff in depth, and learning is the best way for me to do that. Sorry, I'm catching up on the comments. The comments here. John makes a good point. That each of the platforms have a different community, it seems. I do agree in that, yes, but the only thing is that they seem to work against each other as far as the algorithm and the darn subscriber levels go. If I had 1,800 subscribers and I wasn't fighting for monetization, I probably wouldn't care. But then again, would I put as much thought and care and introspection like I did today into making it better? So I don't know. That's a rhetorical thought. It's just me thinking out loud. So I'm going to try and figure out, I'm going to put more effort into my shorts and put a little bit more, hopefully a little bit more quality and thoughtfulness into them, instead of just dumping photos into templates to get them to blow up. So what does it all mean? Where do I go from here? And do I just keep doing the same things? And part of the answer is yes, I will keep doing the same things because I like what I'm doing. I like the results that I'm getting. One interesting thing, and I should bring this up as a sort of proof in the pudding kind of thing. While I'm not monetized on YouTube, I do keep track of my metrics of where my customers come from. And I can quantify, now this is only a sample size of 12. I sold 12 snakes this year, and 6 of those sales came from YouTube. 50% of the sales came from YouTube directly. Like, I know somebody reached out to me after watching either this or a traditional video that I do. I have not connected directly with a viewer on Instagram or a customer on Instagram. My other customers came from Morph Market, and then I've done some trading business as well. So I've sold 12 outright, and I want to say I've traded 2 or 3. I'm trying to think. I'm thinking out loud. That was local Facebook groups. So I haven't sold any on local Facebook groups. I've sold 6 from YouTube and 6 from Morph Market. So in that way, there is a monetization to YouTube and a reason and a successful outcome to that. And you can extrapolate all kinds of things. If I get 50% of my sales in the future and I project in 3 years, I'll be doing $30,000 in sales a year. Those are all huge ifs, of course. then, then you could say that YouTube is highly monetized at that point. But that proof remains to be seen. I know a lot of people on Instagram have incredible, I don't like the word luck. They planned it, they aimed it, they went for it, they got it. That's not luck. Incredible results of selling their snakes on Instagram. So I still want to crack that market, but on Instagram, I'm just under 200 followers. So I'm still building that. I'm most comfortable on YouTube. I'm most well situated on YouTube. So what does it all mean? Where do we go from here? I've decided that I think I want to, instead of saying my brand, I think I want to say this community. We don't know each other, but we kind of know each other. We recognize each other. We have our shared likes, our shared interests. And frankly, this is a great place where our commonalities are magnified, when in the rest of the world, our differences are what's magnified. And I'm not saying that to just give some sort of hoorah pep speech, although I feel really good about it. I'm saying it because this is, like I was talking about earlier, kind of the new hangout. This is the new pub. We don't have to worry about driving home. We're already home. You can have a drink of wine or whatever you want, and if somebody gets out of hand, I just mute them or turn them off of here. And as Jay put it, yeah, it is. It's us being human. And so maybe instead of a brand, maybe it's a community. And instead of customers, maybe there's friends in the community. Because think about how business works. Yeah, we probably all have to shop at our own version of Walmart or whatever. But again, I'll go back to the restaurant example. Why is it that in a world where there's an Outback or a Chili's or a Ruby Tuesday on every corner, does the small, specialized, local restaurant still even exist, much less thrive? Not all of them do. Many of them fail. Most of them fail. Most YouTube channels will fail. I hope I don't. Knock on wood. I like to keep it going. To me, it's because of a community. It's because you cater to a specific clientele. You speak to the tribe that you're part of, and your tribe has found you, and you have found them, at least in this little world of ball pythons. So at that point, am I selling to you, or are we doing each other a service in our own little community, in our own little world? And in that way, my brand it gives me chills talking about. That's a whole new way of looking at it. So from that standpoint, what do you all want to see? What more could I be doing? And now that there's 800 subscribers in this little gang that we're talking about, and there'll be more, should I start looking into affiliate marketing and trying to build those revenue streams? There's streams. I love it. They're called revenue streams rather than revenue rivers, because it all just trickles in to start with. And you got to start, and it's going to snowball. Think about the stats I showed you on my very first views. They were nothing, but they didn't matter. And that's only a year ago. I just saw that guy Gavin at Balls to You, he's been on 5 years. That's a long time in one way, but in another way, 5 years, I can tell you almost exactly what I was doing 5 years ago to the day. Now, Facebook helps me with that. It tells you what you're doing. But 5 years will go by like that. He's got 20,000 subscribers. That's a heck of a lot more. And I bet his streams are trickling a whole lot more like rivers rather than just streams. So is it worth setting up what my shelving is, what my lighting is, what this Canon M50 is, because suddenly you are inspired and you want to go check out one of those, and maybe it's affordable, maybe it's not in your world. I don't know. I'm not sure. And then there's things outside of my ball python world that I don't know if that makes sense to bring in or not. So tonight is a little bit of an extreme example, but this shirt that I'm wearing and this vest are from a company called Kuhl, Kuhl. It's an outdoor company. It's like a North Face type company. I really like Kuhl, but I'll tell you a little secret. I'm sponsored by Cool because of my work in other areas. At the resort that I do still work for in a consulting advisory role. I oversaw one of the outlets that was our outdoor outfitter sort of shop and our boat rental marina place. And we sold some food and drinks. There's a bar in there, so that's why it fell under me. But because I worked in there, Cool, there's the logo, KUHL, wanted me to wear their clothes, and I really love their clothes. And truth be told, in most videos, I wear Cool clothes. So should I start affiliate streams for that? And, so there's a lot of different revenue ways to look at it. Jay is one of the guys that I talk about NFTs a lot with. And matter of fact, he might be the guy that got me started on NFTs. I'm not sure if I got to, next time we talk, Jay, we got to remind ourselves of that story of where it first started. But I think NFTs in the crypto world are huge in the future. And I'll take the opportunity to tell you in the description after the show, you'll find that there is a collection of Proper Royals NFTs. And they're experience driven. They're not, the art is just the vessel. The art is really just a token, to be honest with you. But you get perks and experiences as if you were to subscribe to a Patreon channel, except you or I don't have to pay Patreon. We just do business together. So I think NFTs are a great opportunity in the future as well. I love also sharing and learning, my workflow, my processes, my systems management. One of the things that I've had to do is, as I've grown, is figure out how to get better at things. When I went from 13 snakes over a year to 30 snakes, I had to learn how to clean quicker. I had to learn how to get more efficient. I had to learn how to organize myself and schedule things and get things on a system and a process. And that's what I've had to do on YouTube as well, and how I've had to look at this from a business standpoint. Sharing things like that, I think, is something that I'll do in the future. And I don't think I'll ever monetize that. But I'll be honest with you, when I put my email address out there, which is properroyals@gmail.com, I am accumulating an email list. And one of these days, when I figure out what I'm going to do with it, the very first email I'll send is going to be me saying, if you don't want to be part of this list, I will never spam you, but I'll use this to communicate, another way to communicate, and another way to, frankly, advertise, but to get, sneak peeks, get this before it goes on Morph Market, etc. But one of the very first emails will be, here's how you opt out. And I'll make sure I'm doing it professionally. And I'll make sure that there's the unsubscribe buttons and all of that kind of stuff for the email. But, instead of monetizing my spreadsheets that I use that aren't proprietary, anybody can make it. But if you want one, email me, trade me your email, and I'll send you my feeding spreadsheet or my breeding spreadsheet that I did a video on the other day. So, and then I've got some, I'll call them still secret future projects. I've got some ideas of how investments could work, in how investors could work with me in the world of ball pythons, and it'd be a mutually beneficial output. I joke with people that because I like guitars. Guitars are one of my other big hobbies. If I put two guitars together, no matter how long I leave them, they will never make a batch of little guitars, right? It's a great joke, but snakes will. So there is an exponential potential for return on investment if somebody is willing to invest in an animal with me from an investment standpoint, and I can structure it so that it's worth their while. And I'm just going to leave it there because it's not proprietary, but I don't know anybody else that's doing it, and I'm interested in pursuing it. So that's a path that I'm looking at. In all honesty, it's a different way to beg for money, but it's cash flow, and I would be on the hook for paying them back, et cetera, et cetera. And any investment, you want to make more than you put in. So that's ideas that I'm kicking around as well that are kind of fun to dream about. And I'm a lucky man to be at a point in my life where I can dream about these things. Jay is too kind. Jay and I ran restaurants together forever. And he quit when he bought his own restaurant, which was a day I was incredibly proud of to be a part of. But yeah, I mean, systems and processes, man. If you can't reproduce what you do consistently and you don't know how you're doing it consistently, you might not know what you're doing. So anyhow, I love systems and processes. Anything I do repeatedly goes, I have to turn it into a system or a process. So anyhow, that is mostly the topics I wanted to cover specifically. I got a few more notes and I'm losing a little bit of steam from my COVID condition, which I'm almost done with. But what do you as the consumer want to see in the future? I always love to have your feedback, whether it's comments tonight, whether it's emails, whether it's Instagram. Let me know. One thing I've learned about a year on YouTube is that it is hard to stay fresh. I go through waves of inspiration and burnout, and inspiration and burnout. And I haven't quite got used to the cycle, much like I haven't quite got used to the cycle of even ball pythons. There's a lot of downtime with ball pythons. Man, you go from having so much work to do to, okay, you're done for a day or two or three. And the season's kind of that way. You go from nothing, just feeding, breeding, building, not breeding, feeding and building, suddenly you're breeding, so you got something going on, and then boom, ovulation hits and you're just going, and then the babies come and they hatch and you got to sell them. And that overlaid with the cycles of inspiration and depletion on YouTube is an interesting thing that I'm still figuring out. But I enjoy it very much. Clearly, I've talked over an hour now about it. So I do enjoy it very much. The other thing to me that I'm still wrestling with, and if some of you all are like, man, this guy wants to go in too many different directions, just focus on the snakes. That normally is what I would offer as advice to somebody in almost any endeavor. Don't get blinded by what's out here. But here's my problem that I can't figure out or can't get around. And I think I have to do those other things. Plus, I like business. I like figuring things out. I like figuring out the angles and not in an underhanded way. If I only focus on ball pythons, I'll always be second to Billy or Miguel or Brian. It's not a fair standard to go, okay, I'm just going to focus on ball pythons and I'm going to be the best ever, because I'm not going to be. It's just, it's a simple fact of the matter. Even if I hit the lottery, I don't think I would spend enough to catch up to what they're able to produce right now. However, I can produce very well in certain lanes where I could compete with them in my own community, in my own base of consumers that I'm building. But if I could do things that they're not doing and be ahead of them on things like NFTs, or be ahead of them on things like affiliate marketing, or find some sort of crossover. I haven't figured out how, but maybe there's a guitars and ball pythons world I don't even know about. And that's being a little bit facetious, but those are the kinds of things, or clothing, I mean, yeah, there's t-shirts and there's stickers, but is there really any other, swag clothing? I don't want to get into the clothing world, but you know what I mean? There's these crossovers or these ways that could interact with each other that haven't been discovered. And the fact is that we could I could name the 5 biggest players, and I bet 80% would overlap with what you all would say is the 5 biggest players. That tells me there's so much opportunity in this niche. There's so much room for growth, for expansion, for lifestyle, that we can average, between 10 and 20 people just talking about Adam on YouTube for an hour. Tells me that, the ceiling is incredibly high for where content can go, and we're just getting started. So I'm always looking for ideas. I'm always looking for new content, new topics. I'll keep at it. Patrick, as always, is incredibly gracious. All I want for you is to keep the content coming and continue to be great, my friend, my man. I will be, Patrick, and I really appreciate it. And like I say, one of these days you're gonna have a snake from Proper Royals. I'm gonna work it out with you. I promise that. So I'm excited about the future. I'm excited to continue to learn, to grow this community, to grow this brand. Jay says more family involvement content. That's an interesting angle because this is a family hobby. And as I started it, that really was my intent. As a father on the internet, I gotta tell you, I've come into this weird concern about my son. Obviously, he pops on from time to time. I've never gotten anything weird, feedback, comment, none of that towards Charlie. I just don't know what I would do if I did. And it's been an incredible journey for me. I can count on one hand the number of negative comments I've gotten in a year. So I don't really know what I'm worried about, but just the dad part of me is kind of like, I don't quite know if he was a little bit older, that kind of thing. So, earlier, when we looked back, I looked back on my old videos, and there's a few where Charlie's in the thumbnail, and we used the comic book filter to kind of change his appearance, and then he would largely stay off screen. So I think he'll be back, especially as we get more hatchlings. That's the exciting stuff for him. Working on processes and cleaning or talking deep diving on morphs. He's not into that stuff. I don't know that he would sit through a video. It might be fun to try and torture him about it. But we will, I'll see on that. Maybe I need to figure out, maybe I need to not say, here's why I don't do it, and say, okay, here's how I can do it. That is what Jay taught me, working with Jay for sure. Chuck says, keep up the great work as always. Love listening every Tuesday. It helps me with work, and I like commenting when I have the ability. Chuck, thank you so much, man. I'll keep some of it private, but you and Anna have been in my thoughts, and I hope you all are doing okay, man. Yeah, I'm thinking of you. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm excited to see where the future of the hobby is. I truly think we're just scratching the surface, and I want to say thanks. I'm going to wrap up the show there. I'm fading a little bit. I will be back next week, and I got to give a quick shout out to New Forest Morphs. My calendar's over here. So tonight is Tuesday, the 23rd. Next Tuesday is why doesn't this make sense? Next Tuesday is November 30th. I'm not sure who will be on then with me. And the following Tuesday will be New Forest Morphs from the UK. They are going to get up at like some ungodly hour. I think they have to sign on at 2 a.m. in the morning or something to join the live stream. So if you haven't checked out New Forest Morphs, go check them out. Really great content. I enjoy them. From me to you all, no cheesy speech coming up or anything, but happy Thanksgiving. I'm thankful for you all. I am full of gratitude. That's another thing that the year has taught me, to think that 800 plus people would click subscribe and maintain their subscription and average a watch time of 3 minutes per video, not to mention average watch time on these lives is through the roof. It's like 20 to 30 minutes on average. I am so grateful. Thank you very much. Safe holiday to you and yours. If you're traveling, be safe out there. Be safe with your families. Get home safe. Cheers to you. I will see you all next time. Thanks so much.